You know, what if that huge fundamental question we all ask ourselves, who am I? What if it's not actually meant to be answered? What if it's something you're supposed to live? Well, today, we're going to dive into a pretty wild philosophical journey that kicks off right in that moment of just total uncertainty. So it all starts with this sudden, superhuman question. Just picture it. You find yourself in this bizarre, surreal landscape, and you have absolutely no memory of how you even got there. What's your first thought, right? It's going to be to question everything, starting with your own identity. And that moment, that's what kicks this whole thing off. Okay, so this first leg of the journey, it's all about that initial shock. That jolt of awareness when you're suddenly hit with the biggest questions of all. What does it even mean to be? But almost right away, another voice jumps in and just challenges the whole entire quest. Instead of helping find an answer, this voice asks, hey, why does knowing who you are matter so much anyway? I mean, why are we so completely obsessed with slapping a label on ourselves? And that is such a crucial point, right? Is this need for an identity really coming from deep inside us? Or is it more about social pressure? Are we genuinely on a quest for self-discovery, or are we just trying to figure out which mask to wear for everyone else? This leads us to a really fascinating idea. What if the answer isn't inside us at all? I mean, what if we've been looking in completely the wrong place this whole time? And this brings us to a really cool concept called relational identity. So the idea here is that who you are isn't some, solid, fixed thing you find buried deep inside yourself. Nope. It's actually shaped and revealed through your connections with other people. Just think about it for a second. Are you the exact same person with your best friend as you are with, say, your boss? Probably not, right? So here, you can see these two ideas right next to each other. On one side, you've got the classic search for self, that personal internal quest. But on the other side, you have this pretty radical idea that life actually happens in relational packages, that who we are is fundamentally defined by our connections to others. But our protagonist is skeptical. And hey, maybe you are too. This line just captures that doubt perfectly. I mean, if our identity is so social, then what about all that time we spend alone? It's a really powerful comeback, and it gets right at the heart of the tension between our inner private world and our public social lives. Okay, and this is where the conversation takes a really surreal turn. The place they're in, the environment itself, becomes part of the puzzle. It makes you ask, what happens to your sense of self when you can't even trust reality? The setting itself is a massive clue. We hear about a river that doesn't actually flow. So it's not a real river, it's a representation of one. And that's a huge hint, right? It suggests that the world they're in might not be real at all, but more like an artistic landscape, something projected from the mind. And this is where a really fascinating philosophical term pops up, qualia. All that means is the personal, subjective feeling of an experience. So it's not the science of blue light hitting your eye. It's your personal, internal feeling of seeing the color blue. And this whole surreal world, it's built on exactly these kinds of powerful sensory feelings. So you gotta wonder, what's the point of this weird, artsy illusion of a world? Well, the dialogue suggests that art is basically a survival kit. It's a way to hold on to memories. It's a shield to protect us from bad stuff. It's even a kind of map to help us navigate our own minds. And maybe most provocatively, it's a necessary form of denial. And that leads to this really critical question. If actual reality is available, why would anyone deliberately choose to live in a hallucination? The implied answer is, well, it's a powerful one. Maybe some realities are just too much to bear. And maybe, just maybe, illusion becomes a necessary tool for survival. All right, so just when you think this can't possibly get any more complicated, the dialogue drops its biggest twist yet. The very idea of the self is about to get completely blown apart. So here's the big reveal. The other characters, they aren't real people. They are all just projections of the protagonist's own mind. This whole time, the entire conversation has been happening inside one person's head. It's like they're a single gem with many different facets, and each character is just the light reflecting off a different side. And this is the moment our protagonist's whole search for a single solid identity just shatters into a million pieces.
The realization that they're not a singular I, but a whole collection of we's. It sends them into a total existential spiral. I mean, can you imagine?
Fragmented. That one word just sums it up perfectly. The sense of a single, coherent self is gone. It's broken apart. And what's revealed is that the mind isn't this one unified thing, but more like a chorus of different voices all talking at once. But then, one of the projections offers a way out of this crisis, and it's this incredibly calm, rational approach. Step 1. Acknowledge that this is a cognitive issue. It's in your head, not a problem with the outside world. Step 2. Understand that in the material world, nothing has actually changed. And step 3. Use this whole thing as a chance to learn, using calm and reason to guide you.
Okay, so this brings us to our final section. And here, the whole focus shifts. It moves away from desperately trying to find answers and moves toward just embracing the process itself. So after all of that searching, this is the massive question just hanging in the air. What if? What if the meaning of life is just nowhere? What if there's no big secret to uncover? What if this whole intense search for meaning is pointless, simply because there's no meaning to be found in the first place? And the dialogue doesn't just hand you a simple answer. Instead, it does something way more interesting. It reframes the entire problem. It suggests that maybe the point isn't to arrive at some destination called the meaning of life. Maybe the search itself is the whole point. And this line, right here, just perfectly captures the soul of this entire dialogue. It suggests that the real value isn't in finally pinning down who you are. The value is in the act of questioning, of exploring, and of simply experiencing that journey of self-discovery. So, when you boil it all down, the dialogue puts a ton of value on questioning and on experiencing, but finding that one single final answer, that's seen as way less important. It's a clear case where the process, the journey, is so much more important than the outcome.
So, let's end by turning this whole idea back on you. If the journey really is the destination, if the questioning is more important than the answering, then it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What is the question that you are living?